we need to get, do we have a sign-in sheet? You have a pen?
Should I grab a mic?
So if you could just give us your name on the sheet, so that way our minutes taker can get your name spelled just the way you like it, and your address or business, however you want to be known.
Alrighty.
And then when you start, just introduce yourself into the mic.
Yes, I'm Carl Soderberg. I run Able Ebenezer Brewing Company here in town, and I'm also a board member with the Chamber of Commerce. I chair the Education Committee, and that's really the capacity that I'm here tonight so we've grown the Education Committee every year. The Merrimack Chamber of Commerce gives several $1,000s out to local high school seniors, basically out of our scholarship fund to help finance their college education. This is one aspect of the chamber we're trying to grow. It's pretty significant at this point, but we have grand ambitions in the future. I feel like it's a great way of investing in the future of our community as local businesses. So we started exploring different events we could host throughout the year here in town that would help raise money to beef up the scholarship fund. And one of the ideas that we came up with, which we talked about at the Greater Woods Subcommittee,
yes,
a couple weeks ago, was running a bike race, an off-road bike race here in town. Merrimack's, I believe by square mileage, one of the largest, if not the largest towns in the state of New Hampshire, and we have a very robust trail system that a lot of people don't take advantage of. We feel like this would be a great way to highlight both the town, the trail systems that we have in town, and bring a lot of revenue into the scholarship fund for Merrimack High School seniors. So we proposed the idea that we talked to a couple of subcommittee members from Greater Woods. They felt that Greater Woods was probably the best area to host the race for the first year. And Matt said he would help out with coming up with a course that wouldn't screw with the trails too much. But that's kind of where we're at right now, is the initial planning phases, but I wanted to make sure that everybody within the Conservation Commission was on board. The Chamber's fully behind this. We have volunteers that are ready to help host the event, set up, break down, market. We're prepared to handle everything from start to finish. We just want to make sure that the trail systems that it's not just something that was here. It's something that a lot of time and effort went into, a lot of planning, a lot of labor, and we want to make sure that that's respected, because if this event goes well, we plan on doing this every year going forward.
So what day are you looking for?
We're shooting late August, early September, right before school starts. And if this year doesn't work out, we'll just push to next year.
If you're looking to utilize the school parking lot area, we'll probably have to include them in the discussion. Make
Yep.
sure that they're okay with that. So,
What was her name from the school board?
Shannon Barnes.
Shannon Barnes, yeah, the chair. So she was at your meeting?
She was at the meeting.
But we probably should let the board weigh in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
There's a lot of different departments we have to bring in, including the police. There's a lot of coordination.
Yeah. So when we do other organized events like this, the town typically likes to see a liability policy, so that way if anyone gets hurt, the town doesn't have to absorb that.
Yes.
That's what I mean?
Yes.
So, and there is a connection and a way to do that, so we'll have to put that together, work with Paul McCallie to get that in place, okay? They're usually not that expensive to put in place, especially if you're not going to serve alcohol or something else.
Yeah, we're prepared for, insurance liabilities, all of those different things. I know there's a lot of different moving parts, but I feel like we're in a pretty good position right now.
Yeah.
So
So just wanted to highlight that. That's something to consider, and it takes time to put in place, so you want to make sure that you don't wait till the last week to do it, that's all.
When Carl came and spoke to the subcom, we had actually a fairly full meeting, which was good. Everyone was a nice presentation, and everyone was pretty much on board. We all brainstormed a little bit of, pre-activities, after, rebuilding trails, maintenance of the trails to keep them right. So it was well received, and we had good support. Again, from Jody Shannon was very. Sorry.
Here's a slip, huh?
Well, no, Shannon obviously she's school board chair, and she does sit on the subcom with us.
She did bring up that we would have to go before the school board, but she was confident that the school board would likely get behind it. We're talking about a Saturday, Sunday event,
Okay, yep.
Afternoon, sunny.
Right.
There's a lot of little details that have to be worked out with various departments, and then the logistics of hosting the event, but the trail system here in town is an asset of the town of Merrimack, and we don't want that to become something that's abused or overused or damaged. So that was one of the big concerns that we had coming in, was this is a great idea, but do we have everything we need to make sure that we're not harming a town asset?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does. Just, proper route placement will help with that, so, yeah. So Matt and the subcommittee can all help you with that, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was well received. So everyone was pretty much on board. Adam Dodge, one of the subcommittee members, is State 9. State 9 is a bike club that wants to host the event and help with the timing and the protocol of a race. So
Cool.
we have a lot of volunteers already. So
That sounds like a great idea.
Sweet.
We have a website. We can help advertise it a little bit too, since it's a good cause. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I welcome it. If there's any questions that the commission has with the chamber, we are an open door.
Yep.
We really want to keep growing the partnership between the chamber and the town, and I feel like this is a really cool way to do it. So,
I agree.
is there anything else I need from you guys, from anybody else in town, from?
the school committee, we have to coordinate. We're gonna have to coordinate with MVD. PWD, because initially I would think Bishop Field is going to have to be some type of staging area.
Yeah, then you'll have to coordinate with Parks and Rec for the field, because they might be scheduling that field. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm not sure what the sports.
Just because it's a weekend, I don't want you to think that there won't be anything going on, especially at the end of August, beginning of September. Some of the fall sports have started.
That's why I asked, what other things, what other people should we be talking to? Because it's always that thing that you feel like you have all your bases covered, and then there's.
MOA uses that field for soccer that time of year, so that would be. But again, that's coordinated through Parks and Rec. So as long as we can kind of keep that in the loop, we should be able to make that work. I'm not sure how we'd go about police and.
Chief
They
Doyle's on
would do
board.
that.
He just needs details, times,
Right.
what roads are being shut down, how long, how many people, so that he can coordinate how much traffic control he has to allocate for the day.
From our perspective, I'm not sure there's a whole lot more that we need to do. So.
So we were thinking, we'd be doing this kind of posting the kiosks of the fact that it's going to be coming this day, so
Right.
the trails are going to be busy.
Right. Yeah, let people know ahead of time what's going to happen. So, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So when you talk with Public Works, they may even let you use one of their electronic signs.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I think we have one of them in the Horse Hill parking lot right now. I think so. Yeah, then just be aware that beginning of September is Labor Day too, so that'll impact people's schedules whether they come or not and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's all stuff we're playing with now. Is what weekend do we think is going to be the best weekend? And I think a lot of that's going to have to do with what Parks and Rec says, what the police department says, and what the school board says.
So end of September is typically the Merrimack Expo and Merrimack Rocks stuff.
I think once we get to the end of September, we might just start pushing to next summer. We kind of see this as a summertime event.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a great idea. So yeah, so just let the subcommittee know how we can help or what's going on for status or whatever every now and then. And if we as a commission need to get involved, they'll let us know.
Will do.
So, okay.
Awesome. Thank you
Great,
guys
thank
very
you.
much. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
Have a great evening.
All right, so next on our agenda is a visit from Patricia Cook. So, do you need an extra pen? Do you need one? Okay, see you.
Thank you.
She's here to talk to us about a memorial bench at Horse Hill Nature Preserve.
Yes, I had been speaking with Becky Thompson, and she referred me to you. And what I'm requesting is, my granddaughter passed away in March, unexpectedly, and she was very active in the town. She was a high school graduate. She was in college in Pennsylvania when she passed away. She was very active with the Girl Scouts here. She was very active over at Horse Hill. She was in the band. And basically what I'd like to do is have a memorial bench installed over at Horse Hill. It would be professionally installed. And these are the plans. They're kind of crude, but the gentleman who drew this up for me can answer any questions anyone may have. We would like to have the bench installed with her name, and a piece of artwork that a friend of hers had drawn, which would be engraved onto a ceramic plate and installed into the bench. If anyone is interested in seeing the artwork, I don't know if you need to. Please, yes. And there we are. So I don't know what else to do or what else to say, but yes.
Do you have
We
a
would, of course,
location?
be responsible for all of the expenses. I don't have a location because I didn't know if you wanted to choose the location. Becky had indicated to me that Horse Hill may not be appropriate, that perhaps another Watson Park or Wasserman Park may be more appropriate. I don't know your feelings on that. Horse Hill is my first choice. However, we're certainly willing to entertain any other suggestions, if this is even possible. Thank you.
That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah, so we have a few benches already at Horse Hill. We have one near the kiosk. Actually, it's a granite bench near the kiosk.
Okay.
And then we've got another one further in the woods in memory of one of the previous owners of the property.
Okay.
And we have we have a couple strategically located near beaver ponds and things like that. So, did you have any thoughts as to, would you want it something that's near a scenic location or something?
Well, that would be ideal, and I was going to go over there and see, but then again, I did not know if perhaps you had something more specific in mind as to where you'd like to locate it. I mean, this is, thank you.
Is Beaver Pond the first pond on the right when you walk up?
Yep.
So there's that bench there.
Yep.
So you have that pond.
Do you mind coming up? Because
This is Mark, my son,
I'm her father.
Okay.
not my father.
No,
no.
yes. Thank you for having me. Emma and I used to walk Horse Hill together. Thank you. For years, and we were thinking somewhere around Beaver Pond, or along. I know where that first bench is.
Yeah.
And then there's a second bench, maybe like a eighth of a mile, quarter mile up on the left. So somewhere around that particular area.
Yeah.
Or I don't think, I could be wrong, is there a bench as soon as you get there with the little information thing? As soon as you walk in, I don't think there's a bench there.
There is
with the
now.
maps.
There is one on the side of the kiosk now. There's a granite one.
Is there?
Yeah.
Is that recently installed? I don't remember that being there.
2 years.
Yeah. 2 years?
It's been about 2 years, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Time
Or
flies.
maybe when you take when you're going up the trail, you take a left and you go up that first hill.
Yep.
And then you get to the top before you can shudder off into other trails there. There's that kind of a scenic overlook up there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So
My mother would lug that granite bench up there.
The material itself, the granite, is it something that a single person can get up, how are they gonna get up there? I mean, you have to take an ATV or something to get up there? I mean, what would the,
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be professionally installed.
They're gonna pay, I mean, we're gonna pay for everything wherever it's put.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of the trails that are big enough to get a vehicle up to professionally installed.
Yeah, because it's going to be heavy, right?
Yeah, going up that side, I guess it's,
If it was an ATV, it could.
yeah,
It'd be hard.
Yeah.
it'd be hard to get a truck up there, though.
No truck, yeah.
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 And if they're gonna be pouring a footing,
Yeah, he is definitely going to do a footing.
yeah.
That's a good point. That's
Yeah.
something we obviously didn't give any thought to.
So we're also in the process of redoing the parking lot right now. We just started that all makeover and stuff. So there may be certainly opportunities for more than one bench right in the beginning.
Mhm.
And that would be less expensive, and it would certainly get used. So, because a number of folks before they start, they'll wait for friends, or afterwards, take a break before they get in their car and leave.
Okay.
In the winter, it's the benches are a great place to stop and put your snowshoes on and that kind
Yep.
of stuff too. So,
Yeah.
The Spalding Foundation area
yep.
is one area that we've always thought of for a bench. That's something the subcommittee for the Greater Woods, and I don't know if
What's
that's
it for?
Where is
Wholesale?
this?
the Spalding Foundation.
It's
Where's that?
So it's on the opposite side of the Amherst Road parking lot.
Okay.
It's a very beautiful meadow type area.
so what it is it's the foundation of an early settler to Merrimack.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the foundation itself. We at one point had a fence around it, and it was being manicured and taken care of, so you could actually go view it. But that kind of fell in disrepair, so we've got a scout project going on that's going to redo all that area and make that area nice over the next few months. So at least we hope it's this year that they're doing it. So with the scouts, it can depend on their when they get motivated and when they turn 18 and all that too. So
Right. Until they turn 18, correct.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, but that has good access for vehicles. You could get a vehicle in there through a lock gate, so that wouldn't be hard to get to. So, but again, around once the parking lot is completed by the end of this month, there'll be opportunities there as well. So I think it would get a lot of use, and it would be visible too. So if you wanted it, by the parking lot, yeah.
I think that would be nice as well.
I
Like
think,
I said,
yeah.
it's a nice little area. Put your shoes on, hiking shoes, snowshoes,
Right.
get ready, get your bike. I think that'd be great.
Yeah. So I
Sign in.
I haven't seen any of the subcommittee members. We have a subcommittee that helps us monitor the property, but I haven't seen or gotten any input from them besides Cindy.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's right.
So, our liaison. So, did you get any feedback at all?
About
Any-
the parking lot?
Yeah, about this parking bench? Because I did let everyone know. Did anyone reach out to
Oh,
you?
No.
Okay, all right. So, yeah. What do you all think?
Did you have an idea about when you wanted to do this
No,
time frame?
no.
It really depends on up to you. When you give us permission and we can start the gentleman at Hepworth Memorials making the bench.
He needs a 5 to 6 week leeway.
I'm thinking we should wait until the parking lot is finished.
I agree.
And that the beginning of July is the estimated time frame.
Fine.
And then you might possibly want to go take a look
Okay.
when the parking lot's finished and see if you have a spot that really suits you. And then I don't know, should we could have Cindy be a liaison between the subcommittee and the family possibly, so they wouldn't have to come to another meeting.
Right.
We could possibly have our approval tonight, take a formal vote. And then Cindy's on the Horse Hill Nature Preserve Subcommittee, so she'd be a good
Beautiful
person for you.
place. Love
I mean,
it.
they're out there all the time,
Yep.
working, the people on the subcommittee, so she'd be a good person for you to talk to. And I think if Cindy had any concerns about the location, Cindy could bring it back to the subcommittee and to us if need be, but this way you don't have to keep coming
Okay.
to a meeting. Does that
That's-
sound?
That sounds
Be
perfect.
great.
Sound
And
good?
that timing would be perfect because Emma's birthday was September 4th, and we could maybe put the bench there September 4th.
My son went to school with Emma, and I think this is a beautiful tribute to her, and I think this is perfect, a perfect little memory token for Emma. So I think it's a great idea. Thank you for coming forward.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it would be a great addition to the property, so.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
We think so too.
yeah. So I move that Cindy represents the Conservation Commission and works as a liaison between the family and the commission and subcommittee to place the bench in the appropriate spot.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So
Aye.
excellent. So that passes 6-0. Before you leave, is there anything you'd like to let us know about your daughter and the folks that are watching on camera, or your granddaughter? I'm sorry.
I'm not able to do that, but thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
She's just, I don't know if your son got to go to the memorial or not.
I was there.
Were you there?
I'm also very dear friends with Tracy Bull.
Okay.
So I've met Emma a few times, but I feel like I really, really know her through my son was in band with her and attended many classes with her. And she was in theater too.
Yeah.
She was big into theater. And when the celebration of life that you had in her honor, the room was packed, and it was packed full of kids. And just what a beautiful impact she had on so many people.
She did, and
She was definitely a star. She absolutely was.
She was an amazing person. I mean, I knew that my daughter impacted a lot of lives. Just by a lot of people she helped in high school. She helped 2 of them get through high school. Drove them to class summer school to force them to get through there. But I didn't even realize 20% of what she meant to people, and I wish I did. And she's just an amazing person. And that picture, when you see the bench, says it all. I mean, it encapsulates her spirit. I don't know if you know Jen, who drew that, but it was, I mean, it encapsulates who she is. I mean, she caught that like Da Vinci. I mean, it's an amazing picture. But we truly appreciate your time. We truly appreciate your consideration, and we think you'd be a nice addition to Horse Hill because it's a beautiful area, and she was a beautiful little girl.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So when
Thank you.
when you decide to have a dedication of the bench,
Yep.
please make sure Cindy knows, so that way we can let other folks know as well.
That would be great. How do I contact you, Cindy?
Phone number too, maybe.
Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And thank you all again for your time.
Yeah. Yep. You can always reach us through Becky as well if anything gets crossed or you lose the piece of paper. And yeah. Thank you. All right. So next on our agenda is Meridian Land Services and the M. Robin Warren Revocable Trust. Hi. If I could get you to sign my piece of paper there for me. All right. All right.
Ah,
Can you start over again?
sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Good evening. I'm Randy Haight from Meridian Land Services. And this site is a two-lot subdivision of a 12.6 acre lot. It's a L-shaped lot, and it has frontage on two roads, Knollwood Road, which it has 40 feet of frontage on, and then Joppa Road, which it has 311 plus feet of frontage. And in February, the applicant went to the zoning board and got a variance to allow for a reduced frontage lot of 40 feet off of Knollwood Drive. So this is just a completion of that, and we're just doing a two-lot subdivision. It was 12.6 acres. The house that is existing on the lot is on Knollwood Drive, and that's going to retain 7.6 acres. It's about 900 feet deep. And then the new lot is going to take on all the frontage from Joppa Road, which is 311 feet, and that's going to be a 5 acre lot. So it's real straightforward.
Yeah, I guess there was some confusion on when you needed to be here, how to get comments and stuff like that. Long and the short of it is I wasn't aware that you needed to come, and then when I was made aware a few weeks ago, I said yes, they should come. And then the meeting schedule didn't work out, so this was the first meeting that was open. So
Yes, right.
So
And the planning board approved this conditionally, and one of the conditions was that you had a chance for us to talk to you, and if you had any comments we needed to add. I think it was tripped because the Knollwood end of the lot, L-shaped lot, is partially within the aquifer district, and the rest of it is out of it. So the new lot is completely out of the aquifer district.
Yep. Okay. Anyone have any questions or comments about it? So the part that caught my eye when I looked at the plans was on the Joppa Road lot, the edge that goes, I guess, north. I'm not sure. Yeah, the north property line.
Yes.
Talks about a potential wetland buffer. At least the version of the plans that I have.
Yes, that's right.
And it notes note 10, and note 10 speaks to that they weren't delineated because they're not on the subject property. So I was curious if the dot dash line that was used for the potential wetland buffer, is that a complete 40 feet from the property line, and that's why that line is used, because they're not sure where the wetland is, or how was that line drawn?
Yes, well, there was an approximate line of where the wetland is, if you see, along the drainage ditch. And so what they're doing is holding that dimension away from the drainage ditch. However, we weren't able to investigate it because it wasn't on our property, and we didn't have permission to do it.
Okay, so it's true then that single dot and dash line is 40 feet from the property line then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was just to make everybody aware.
Yeah.
It's a caution.
Yeah, and we appreciate being cautious around the wetlands, okay?
Yeah.
and respecting them and maintaining the buffer. But I was just curious how that line got drawn.
Yeah, and that's how, from the location of the ditch, the drainage ditch.
Okay.
And that was generated from the GIS that showed, with topographic, the town stuff.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And then the wetlands that are on the parcel?
Those were delineated.
Those
yes,
were delineated
yes.
recently by a member of your...
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Spencer Tate.
Yep. Okay, just wanted to make sure that I read that all properly, that's
Yes.
all, so...
No, you're absolutely right.
Okay. So how are you handling sewer and water for the two
Well,
new lots? Or
The existing house has its own septic system and well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I noticed a well. I was but then I saw an easement for water service, so I wasn't sure what was going on there.
yeah, no, it has its own well, but the easement's just there.
Okay.
It's on the other lot, when we went to planning, they said they didn't really need to have us do, because it's a 5-acre lot and didn't need state subdivision approval, that there's plenty of room. And that's more of a building issue, but from an assurance point of view, we wanted to make sure that there was a viable septic place on there, so we did a test pit for that.
You did, okay.
Yeah, so that's perfectly fine, and that's shown as the round circle near the setback line with a half
I
darkened.
don't think I have that on my plan.
That,
Oh.
that little,
Oh, there, okay.
that's the test pit.
Gotcha.
It says
TP1.
Gotcha,
TP1?
right. Yeah, gotcha,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that was just a caution on our part. We just want to make sure that
Yeah,
it's septically viable.
all right,
It would be hard pressed to believe that it wouldn't be, but
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I just had one quick question, is I'm not sure what this extra little,
there's a little bit of wetland right up in that corner.
right in that marker?
Yeah,
That's what that corner
we
is?
delineated it, yeah. That's why it shows those, and that's why it shows the 2 setbacks there.
Right.
anyone else have any comments? So, the one thing I noticed, I didn't go out and look, but on our GIS system, they show just north of the abutting property, a wetland that doesn't show up on here,
Yeah,
so,
Spencer walked the site. He didn't,
yeah, okay.
he walked all over.
And that's fine, because
Yeah.
since it was, recently walked and all that,
Yeah.
that could be a legacy of standing water from a previous point, or who knows, I don't know.
It may have had water at the time of the GIS photos,
Yeah,
not necessarily qualify as a wetland.
understood, right,
Yeah.
exactly, yep.
Yeah.
And there are errors in the GIS system, just like any system can
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a heck of a good tool compared to a lot of towns.
Exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
so.
So is there any plan right now for a house, or right now it's just a subdivision and that's
No,
it?
just to subdivide, yeah. Just separate them, it makes sense because it's an L-shaped lot and has frontage on 2 roads, yeah.
So if someone built on this, we'd see the plan again?
No,
No,
we would not see it again. No, it would strictly be they pull a building permit, and as long as they following all the normal process of a permit, that's it, so.
correct.
Yeah, so that was the other reason why I thought it was good that we at least understood what was going on
Yeah.
in that area, that's all.
Yeah.
So. All right, so this is, normal planning board stuff. Do we have any comments that we'd like to bring along with this, or do we think any concerns or questions have already been addressed by the plans? We did get the feedback from the planning board, so we saw what the planning board, or the planning department had, so we know what they did at their meeting.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I mean, there's no construction,
right,
there's not really
yeah,
a whole lot to look at.
yeah, it's just a subdivision at this point, so. All right, we good? So, what I'll do is I will let Jillian know in the planning department tonight that we had no further concerns or questions, and everything that we would be concerned about has already been addressed in the plans.
Very
So,
good.
all right?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for coming out, appreciate it, so. Okay, so I don't believe our second item on statutory advisory business is gonna come before us tonight. They've asked for a continuance, and that's due to some comments that I raised, that I copied you all on, which were really reiteration of the planning department's comments. So we'll see that project at another time. So that brings the last item under statutory, that's Hayner Swenson and Pennachuck Waterworks. And we'll see, yeah,
Thank you.
so. So I bring you all the way back here because as a commission, we act as a body.
Oh, that's fine.
And-
That's, I
and-
mean, that's fine.
So So the only way that we could move forward on this is if the body would approve the expedited permit, so.
Got my easel, I realized that when I
Yeah.
was at about exit
Yeah.
10.
And we don't,
Saying we need to get one, but.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
That'll work.
Let's see. This is the bypass thing, the bypass
Yep,
again.
yeah,
It's a cool project. Let's see that.
yep.
Is it green light means it's on, or is it?
It's really
I'm on-
bright.
Okay.
So just introduce yourself, short minutes taker before you start.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Steve Auger. I'm a project manager with Hayner Swanson, and our office is located at 3 Congress Street in Nashua. As you know, we came before you back on February 1st regarding Pennachuck's 36-inch raw water main project. So, and the reason we were here before you then was for a buffer impact with regards to kind of what's phase 2 of that project. We got positive input from you folks that night. Proceeded on to the zoning board on February 28th, where they granted us a special exception to work in the buffer. From there, we moved on to amend our existing shoreland permit, which we got from the state a year ago, which was part of phase 1 of the project. And it was during that review that we discovered they told us we actually need a dredge and fill permit as well, because even though we aren't touching any wetlands, we're still working in the buffer, and that was the reason for this. But we are, if you folks vote to sign our application tonight, we are eligible for an expedited permit. So that's why we're here. If you don't mind, as a quick refresher, what I can do is just kind of walk you through the project again, what phase 1 was, what phase 2 is, and kind of where we are now. If you look on kind of our master plan here, what Pennachuck's doing is they have two main water supplies as a way of accessing their treatment plant off of Concord Street. One of them comes from the Merrimack River, which loops its way up through Bowers Pond and then down into Harris, and the other is the Pennachuck Brook, which is way off to the west of the plan there. So for whatever reason, if some type of contamination of Harris Pond should occur, then their water supply, for which the treatment plant serves their portion of Merrimack customers, they'd be at a standstill. They wouldn't be able to supply them water. So what they're doing is, and is signified inside the dash line here, they've constructed a little over 7,400 feet of a 36-inch water main, which ties in from their line up in Manchester Street that comes from the Merrimack, and it runs across dry land and then eventually ties all the way down here back into their existing line, which will access the treatment plant. So in the event, God forbid, something does happen at Harris Pond, whether a trail or truck overturns on the turnpike, as I believe this runs right under exit 10, they'll still be able to supply their customers. Throughout that design process, they came to realize that in the event that the treatment plant should ever have to cease service of water entering from the existing pipe, that would create a big pressure buildup in the pipe. So kind of what's become phase 2 of this project is they had an outlet control structure designed, and I can show you a close-up of that on the other side here. basically that's what I've highlighted in yellow here. So it's a contraption where they overlay it onto the 36-inch pipe, and way down here where so when they have to shut off the water supply coming into the treatment plant, as the pressure builds up in the pipe here, the water would come into here and then exit this box culvert there, out through a head wall, and discharge over the riprap. So we're not getting any type of washout, and we're not sending a huge, uncontrolled slug of water right into Harris Pond. And so this was the reason we were here before you back in February, because to create the head wall and to create the riprap from the head wall, that's where we're working in the buffer. This is just a close-up here of exactly what the head wall and the riprap look like.
There was a gate, because the gravity gate valve on the end of that, as I remember.
I believe so, yes. So as I mentioned, we proceeded on through the zoning board and got to the part of amending our shoreland plan, and then we're made aware that we needed a veg and fill permit specifically for the area of the buffer where we're going to put the head wall and the riprap. That's pretty much the gist. I mean, I know actually in speaking with Amy in the Concom, I did email you, the packet and some backup information, which will be part of our submittal to the state for the dredge and fill permit. So
Right, which I think I forwarded to all of you. Yep. So, so in the permit it talks about a 600 total permanent temporary impact, 600 square foot impact. You had to go to the Heritage Bureau like everyone does.
Yep. Went there last week. That's when we've submitted our review request with them.
And so they identified 2 species that were near there, but because you're doing it late in the season, there should be no impact.
Correct. And there's an email attached on there. The bigger issue was there were a couple bald eagle nests.
Yeah.
And if you look on the colored GIS map in there, they weren't concerned because both nests are well on the other side of Harris Pond, far away from our work. And B, I guess this time of year, more or less, is when eagles nest. And the contractor that Penachuk has contracted for this work, they in the body of their agreement, the very earliest that they can start this portion of the project is September 6th. It's more likely that they won't get to actually building the outlet control structure till around mid-October or so. And we saw our wetland scientist, Bob Prokop, he helped us communicate back and forth with Fish and Game, and once we got the NHB letter back, and that email attached from Kim Tuttle is where she indicated they don't have a problem with it because of A, where the nests are, and B, we're going to be working off-season from when the eagles do nest.
Okay. Questions,
No,
comments?
I thought it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I agree. So did you bring copies of the permit?
I did.
So I would need a motion to sign those to the commission.
Make a motion to sign the expedited permit for the Penachuk Waterworks project.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, so that passes 6-0-0. So then, unless you've got anything else,
Nope. Just want me to bring up just all 5 single pages,
I'll
or
come to you.
okay.
So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take a few minutes recess at 7:18 p.m. to sign the permits, and then we'll restart the meeting after that. So.
Thank you, folks.
Okay, it is now 7:22 p.m. and we're going to restart the meeting and pick up under old business. So the first item under old business is the Ned pipeline. So is this the last time it appears on our agenda?
So at the last meeting, we talked about Brookline's awesome letter requesting reimbursement for all of the money spent. So yesterday, I sent an email to Tad Putney, and I'm trying to remember exactly what his title is, but town manager, and asked him if he had considered or had heard anything about filing a class action suit with all of the other towns affected. And he said, I sent you guys all his response, but essentially it's no. They had been advised just for each town to figure out how much they were out for expenses and send that letter to them and make sure that they put that on social media, because in the event that Kinder Morgan ever did come back, then they could go back and reiterate that they had asked for reimbursement of the amount and this is how much they had spent. Just to get that amount out there so that the people are aware of just how much money each town has spent on not even fighting the pipeline, but just, preparing, making people aware of it, figuring out how it would affect them, how it would affect their emergency services. So money was spent not just to fight the pipeline, but to educate yourself and to become prepared for it. So the short answer is no, they have not considered a class action suit. Yes, they would encourage all of the towns to put together their own letter stating this is how much money we have spent and we would appreciate you reimbursing us.
Volunteer man hours. Because I guess town councils, you guys get some, not much. But there's
We were doing a regular tally, and I can't remember where the town was, but it was in excess of $60,000, and so I'm sure we're
just
over
man
that.
hours.
Pardon me?
Even just man hours. I mean, you're outright paying for something, services or whatever we did, but even just man hours too.
That was just our attorney's fees.
Yeah,
that's all
what
that
I'm saying.
was.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But think of man hours. I mean, MVD and everyone. There was a lot of work, and that's all my tax money, your tax money. That's everyone's tax money.
Yes,
for
it
that.
is.
So that's a huge chunk that I think would get swept under the bridge and just say, oh yeah, we retained a lawyer, we paid for the paper, we did this. There's a lot of man hours there that up in smoke.
Oh, right, you mean like a lot of Eileen's time.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
that you can't really.
I mean, how much time did we spend? I mean, we're volunteers, but
Yeah.
How much time did we not do other things we should have been doing?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
No, I'd say more than half of her time.
Oh, yeah.
the last year
absolutely. That's
was
the thing,
dedicated to
that's a real dollar figure.
And it wasn't just her, it was
No, it's
community development,
Yep.
Public Works Department.
Yep.
MVD.
So MVD is a separate
Yeah, that's
legal
not there,
entity.
that's separate. They don't come out of our
Legal
tax
entity.
dollars.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes out
No.
of your water bill.
In light of the recent events, it's been made very clear to people that they are their own separate legal entity and that the town really has no governmental control over them. And your tax money does not go to pay for MVD. It's customers who pay for the water that they use through their rates, pay for MVD services.
So do you know if the council or the town manager is planning to do anything at this point?
I don't believe anyone is planning to do it. I think if anybody brings up the idea about doing it, it would be, I can. I mean, I have no problem. Now that Tad put something in writing, that would help me. I could bring it up under our meeting and ask them to consider writing something. I don't know that the majority of the council would support it, but what the heck?
Right. Sure, why not, right?
Try.
That would be interesting to know. Just write that little piece. Who supports it and who doesn't?
Yeah.
I mean, it's I don't know. No, I think Brookline's letter was fantastic. But, you know, they're on to other things now with the town that are keeping them really busy, and I think everybody's just relieved to be rid of this for now. But no, I Thursday night, I'll do it. I'll get a copy of Brookline's letter, and I'll bring Tad's email and ask them if they'd consider writing a letter. At least get the dollar amount that we spent for the attorney publicly shared. I don't know how we would quantify Eileen's time and money. I mean, you could say what she makes a year and chop that in half. But anyway.
Okay. Yeah, because I think the commission would like to know if the town council or the town plans on doing anything in this vein, because I think we should do it no matter what. So we need to know, are we doing it alone, or are we going to do it in unison?
Okay, I will get back to you.
That way you get a little fire.
I have my marching orders, you guys. I'm good.
Thank you, Jody.
So one other thing I'd like to bring up on this. So whenever we complete a large project at work, we do something called a post-mortem. We look at what we've done, how we acted, are there any lessons to be learned? What did we expend? What did we get out of it? As well as we determine how we're going to archive and collect all the pertinent data, because who's to say that there's not going to be a NED 2 in 2 years from now? Do we want to collect all our data, put it somewhere so that way it can be easily grasped by the commission that's in place at the time?
I have every Telegraph article that was done. I have, oh my goodness, if I could send them a letter telling them how much paper and toner they owe me from printing out things. I mean, I have a box yay big full of stuff. So if you would like me to archive that and put it in the town files, I would be happy to do that.
Yeah, so I was thinking it would be...
You burnt your city?
Pardon me? Can I? Well, no, because it's all paper. It's all paper.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think it would be worthwhile for us to collect what
Yeah.
we've done,
Yeah.
put together
Even
some information.
Even meeting minutes and things to.
And it's, yeah, all that. So that way it can be rehashed at a future time. So, does anyone want to own that part of the project? Collecting and putting things together? Creating a file, whatever?
I'll do it.
Okay, yeah. Do
Thank
you want us to funnel things to you then?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
I did share with the town council that we were going forward with the ecological assessment of that parcel, and everyone seemed in agreement that that was a good idea. So I did publicly share that.
Yeah, our goal long-term is to try and get, I think, the DOT to donate the other parcels that abut to it, which has been tried twice and is never completed, and so that's one of those land acquisition things that's on the table. So
Just to specify, we're talking about paper files, or are we talking about digital? So if you send me digital files, I'm going to print them out for
no,
paper,
so
or?
what I was thinking of is collecting all the digital stuff on DVD.
Oh,
Well.
okay, okay.
Okay.
I'll have to pull in my IT department at home to
Yeah.
help me with that.
Well,
So-
so I would hand you DVDs
Okay,
along with labels that indicate what's on that DVD, so that way you wouldn't have to generate that stuff. But
okay.
if you've got electronic files or emails or anything else that you think is pertinent, I think I've collected a number of emails over time that maybe we want to hang on to, and I can dump them to a DVD. So that way you can open them and look at them later. So
All right. This might, because I'm not as IT oriented, I was thinking that this was going to be paper, so I'll do my best on this. I may need some
yeah,
help with that.
yeah. But I mean, whatever paper you have, that's part of the package. So,
Okay. Oh, I have a lot of paper.
Yeah.
We could have had
It's
had
paper.
one heck of a bonfire.
Well, no, but if you have paper, if you printed them out from something.
I've printed everything out.
Right, but where was you print it from? What was the source?
Well, the sources would be listed at the bottom because a lot of the things were emails. So.
Well, I meant is like if you printed them out, you may be able to get that digitally.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we'll just save that digitally. Because you can, a thumb drive, you could probably your whole box could probably be down to a thumb drive.
Maybe.
Do you still have the digital source? Do you still know where that is? Or was it a newspaper article, you just printed out a newspaper
You
article?
No,
just- you just
I
printed it off
saved
the
everything.
website,
I
right?
bookmarked a lot of things.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Yeah,
We
Smart
may be able
cookie,
to,
Gina.
we may be able to make that a lot easier for you.
yeah. No, I bookmarked a
We
lot
can,
of
we
things.
can work with that offline. We can
Yeah,
figure
the
it
only problem is that some of them are from newspapers where you would need a subscription.
out. Yeah, those are the ones we have to keep as paper.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, and I mean, I ended up getting subscriptions to certain things, even if it was a 30-day subscription, so that I could read certain articles. Because a lot of things they'll say you can read 6 articles
Right.
for a month. So, but I mean, if you don't have that, you're not going to be able to access it from the drive.
Yep.
So
So now realize these files will end up here,
that's fine.
so.
Oh, you
and,
mean not in my basement anymore? That's
but
okay.
there's no guarantee that in 5 years they don't get lost. or
And that's
whatever.
okay. That's okay. There's no guarantee that in 5 years I won't get lost. So.
Right. Yeah, but you might move to another location that all of a sudden now you've got a different pipeline coming your way.
I don't know. That's the thing, is if I move somewhere else, it's like I want to be as far away from the grid. I'm like Siberia.
A lot of oil up there.
You never know.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so I do think it's important if any of you've got files and things that you think would be helpful to a future commission, if you could burn them to DVD or something like that.
Yep.
That would be great. Okay. Yep.
How are we wrapping it up with our attorney? Have we wrapped it up with our attorney?
I don't know that. That was another question I had.
Okay.
My recollection is we've never been billed. I have not seen a bill.
Seen anything? I was gonna ask you if you had seen anything.
Nothing.
Let's not call her again.
No.
Thing is, yeah, somebody should probably
Do you mind closing the door there, seeing if
reaching
she's
out to
good?
her.
All right. If not, let's close the books on it another way then. So, yeah, I would rather we made it clean. So,
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement too. I'd like to have something, have it settled and
Yep.
gauge.
so the part about, postmortems is lessons learned. In other words, is there things that we could have done better or should do better? If anyone has thoughts on that, just start collecting them. Maybe send them to Gina. She can put them in a lessons learned thing. It could be as simple as one sentence or a couple of sentences that said, maybe we should have done this, or this other town did this and that seemed to work out better. We don't have to say that maybe we should be ahead of Amherst next time. I think we took the right road myself.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
Agreed.
yeah, just some thoughts there. So, when this whole thing was going on early, it was Hollis that was fighting it because they were going to put a feeder into Hollis, and we didn't get involved. Unfortunately, we didn't know about a lot of that stuff either. It was all being run through MVD, which was, in my opinion, a black hole.
They knew about it for not quite a year,
Right.
but close to a year. And there was no communication with the town government at all,
Right.
none.
So I think that's a lessons learned and an activity that maybe the council and MVD should work on, but, or at least raise the flag and say, okay, So,
Yeah, but I think too, a lot of that, I don't think Kinder Morgan was trying to involve people.
yeah.
I mean, they were purposely, we'll just work with you.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to move forward, but with as few outside influence as possible. So I mean,
So the town of Hollis reached out to MVD because MVD wells are in there.
Right.
And it would have impacted their aquifer.
Yep.
And the MVD didn't let anyone else in town know what was going on.
Right.
That's the problem.
I do believe there has been a lesson learned, and the way this PFOA contamination is being handled by the town is being different. I think the town government, as well as members of the town council, have a good idea about the lack of communication that comes from the MVD. I've said it publicly at town council meetings, I'll say it here too. And I think, and I know our town manager is being far more proactive, pushing for communication, pushing for answers, organizing meetings, and pushing the MVD. You notice something went out in bulk mail.
Yeah.
Too. That was Nancy Harrington's idea, to have something go out in writing to everyone. So I think the town government has learned a lot from this and what we can expect for communication with that group, and they're pushing a lot harder for better communication this time around. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, and again, the town really has no legal authority or control, but they are pushing much harder for communication with this issue than we realized needed to be done with the pipeline.
Okay. All right. So I'll take this off the agenda soon, but I think we have a few wrap-up things that we should be doing. So.
Okay.
Okay, so that's all I had on the Ned pipeline item. Anyone have anything else?
Just that I heard that the eminent domain bill did fail, unfortunately.
They all did.
And yes, well, yeah, this was the very last one. But just something, I guess.
Yeah, all the bills that were proposed to try to stop this from happening again were gutted and failed.
Right. So I guess the next thing to watch would be if they can figure out a way to have us pay for the pipeline like they're trying to do in Massachusetts. That would pave the way for another pipeline.
Right.
But
So we just remember this when November comes and it's time to vote again.
right, yes.
They were common sense measures.
Yes, absolutely.
All of them.
Yep.
And it wouldn't have prevented a pipeline from coming through. It would have protected the people of New Hampshire should a proposal like this happen again. All common sense measures. And if you look at any major form of energy project, new infrastructure, it made complete and total sense. But lobbyists get up there and they have the ear of, and some of the people in Concord, I don't know who it is exactly they think they're voted in to represent, but they certainly don't remember the people. There was one state rep from Merrimack, Janine Nodder, that voted in support of all those House bills, as so many people in Merrimack asked our state reps to do. So just 1 out of 8. So people do need to remember that. So Janine actually disagreed. I had a conversation with her. She actually disagreed with a couple of points because she thought there were some unintended consequences to some of them. But so many people in Merrimack reached out to her and said, please support these bills. She did it. 1 of 8. So as Gina said, you've got to remember when election time comes who listened to their constituents and who did not.
Okay, anything else on the Ned pipeline?
You try to put that cork back in.
Yeah.
All right, moving to the website update. All right, so since we met last, I received a project proposal that takes us to the next step from Weatherby. Have you all had a chance to take a look at it before the meeting? There's basically 2 parts to it. One is to actually do the actual website update, similar to how we described, and then there's another proposal there on how to handle regular maintenance and stuff. So I think we can address the 2 separately if we'd like, or together, however you want to do it. Yeah.
I'd like to address them together,
Yeah.
if I could. I thought the initial cost for the revamping was reasonable, and I thought we were going to get a lot for our money with that initial charge. The monthly costs, I've got concerns about the quantity of dollars, and I'm not sure. I know we had talked about possibly doing something less than monthly, and for that price tag, I think we absolutely should consider it. I don't know that monthly there'd be enough information to update to warrant that expense. So I'm in full support of the initial revamping and the charges that go along with that, but the monthly charges I wouldn't support at this point.
So, can I go to a different topic?
Sure.
Okay. So, since we last met, I spent some time trying to use mobile apps versus full desktop apps. And today's phones use the desktop app very well. The mobile apps I found to be really difficult to use, difficult to navigate, difficult to find things. And I found myself going back to the desktop app every time. So, I know there was to try to make them load more responsibly on the mobile device, and I don't know if that means just cleaning the code, or are we trying to move to a mobile app? Are we gonna have two versions of the same thing? We're gonna have a desktop app and a mobile app?
So I guess just to be clear, they're not apps, they're a web page.
The web page, but
Right.
is there gonna
Right.
be a mobile, there's gonna be a full web page for the desktop, and then there's gonna be another, /M version?
My understanding is it would be developed so that way it would render itself differently on a mobile device. It would sense that it was coming from a mobile device, but it wouldn't be a completely second
Yep.
page, right? Yeah.
Because I'd just like to be able to go back to the full desktop version.
Well, what you're trying to do now is off of what currently exists, is that
No,
right?
no. Ours right now only loads as a full desktop. I
Okay,
believe. I don't think
all
it
right.
ever goes to a mobile. But I was purposely trying to find
Other towns or other
no,
things?
just businesses, companies,
Okay.
web pages, whatever, that would have the mobile app and a full app, and trying to use it in both sequences. And the mobile version, without fail, was I hated it. It was awful.
Right, was there any examples you want to bring up?
Well, yeah, I have to go back. Go back to my history and get some, I guess. But it was just like little, trying to find something quick, and you'd be, full app.
Were they actually though, like maps? Were you looking at somebody's
no,
maps?
it's just any
All right.
any company. Or just like, use the mobile, switch to mobile. Sure, switch to mobile. And I just found it cumbersome to try to find my way around the mobile version of the desktop app.
And they were Weatherby's.
No.
Okay.
I'm just in general.
I don't know anything about this or how it works, but the way this has all been explained to us is that my understanding was when the changes were made to our website, it would take into account that a lot of
Yes.
people pull up the maps with their phone and make it easier to read. How that happens magically, I don't know, but I would imagine even if it isn't perfect, it would be better than what we have now, right?
I would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have that much problem on my phone with our app, with our webpage now. I mean, so there's the A10 network for A10 sports. ESPN2 is one of them for the college sports. There's a couple sports websites that have both mobile and a full app that I just found
So-
myself going back to the full one all the time because it just was.
Well, and that's fine too, as long as people have something that they can access while they're out there and they're lost. And if it doesn't work, we can always revisit it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, the only mobile websites that I've used and tend to use on a regular basis are the newspaper ones. Or television stations. They'll come up and you'll have the big, so in order to actually see it on a phone, you'd almost want to run your phone this way as opposed to this way. But if you're flipping out and looking at it, they tend to work very vertical. So therefore, the information is on the width of your screen, and you basically scroll up or down in order to find the next thing that you need.
Yep.
And I'm used to doing that. In fact, I can do it with one hand because I can do it just like this. No, I can
Grab
find
the other.
I wasn't saying that. I can do it in Massachusetts all I want right now. Till July.
Well, when you use GPS on your phone, To me, that's the same thing. That's what it's going to look, that's what I assumed it was going to look like. I don't know, maybe
So-
I assumed incorrectly.
There's two things here that I think Gage is touching on. Just, not the map itself, but just getting to the spot where you'd click the button and view the map. It would be a very vertical type of activity
Yep.
in a mobile phone. So therefore, all the information you need to see widthwise can be done when your phone is in an upright position, as opposed to a horizontal position. So, so therefore, the screens, the pictures, everything all fit right in there. In fact, there might be information that you just wouldn't have on the mobile version, because it would be more about just getting to the data. Okay, so you would scroll and, oh, there's the Horse Hill page, you'd click it, and then that information would come up in a more vertical format. Oh, and it's either scroll or not, depending on where you placed it. The map button would be right there, and then it would come up and it would look like any map, whether you got it through the desktop way or the mobile way.
So I guess that was kind of my question, is like, I feel that the way this was written, it's just gonna be a reorientation of the data, not necessarily a different type of web page where it's gonna be serving data out in a different format.
So,
And granted, I mean, a lot of the ones I was looking at have ads and flash content, so that's,
it's not gonna pollute our screen.
that's not gonna have, we're not gonna have that issue on our screen, which is
Yeah.
fine.
Right.
But I just wanted to,
Yep.
as I understood it, as I read it, to say it's just gonna be more of a reorientation, not necessarily another style of serving the data.
So a couple of things are gonna happen with this. We're going to change the desktop version of the website.
Yeah.
We discussed that, moving the information that changes regularly up to the top, so you don't have to scroll through the website. When it comes up, you instantly know, oh, that's different, because it wasn't there the last time the page popped in front of me. So that's gonna happen, but then the mobile version is gonna reorient the information, may or may not include pieces of the main desktop website. So typically when you go to mobile, you lose a lot of the pictures and stuff like that, because there's too much real estate involved to present those, so. But there is gonna be a revamp, as well as to the font and stuff like that too is gonna update it. And there'll be-
I wanna make sure we don't limit people on a mobile device to only use the mobile version. I like to be able to switch back and forth.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we need to make sure that when it pops up, they have that way to go to the desktop
Go to the
version.
desktop if you want, yeah.
Yep, I know some of them, they ask you
Right.
when it first pops up.
Or there's a link that says,
There's a link,
yeah, go
yeah.
to full. Because I know I have that problem too with some websites, Gage, where I think you just get so used to the full desktop, you know where everything is, and then they switch to the mobile, and then you're like, where is this? And
Yeah.
but I guess like anything, if it turns,
Yep.
if it's easier out in the field, then and as long as we have access to both, then
Yeah, I'm sure Wendy can make sure that it's easily to switch between them if you want to.
mhm.
I would think that's pretty standard, so. So she'll watch the replay of this anyway, so she'll hear your concerns and address them, so. So with the website redesign, are we good with the cost and the services we're gonna receive? There is it talks about the process, gonna do up some design and there'll have to be some review and stuff like that, so there will be some interactiveness going on there, or a mock-up is the term she used. Did you see that? We did that last time, by the way, as well. She did up some mock-up ideas and had some interaction. I was the point person between the commission and Wendy when that was going on back in, probably 2012. So it's been a while. So that's what so she put together some ideas and then we discussed them. I remember Gage was commenting about the logs, or the log font.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
So, all right, so I just wanted to let you know there will be opportunities for us to weigh in as to how we want it. But it really does require a point person, someone to be the main point of contact. So,
It's not you anymore?
no, it can be me. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Second.
Okay, so that's a motion, Gage? Seconded by Cindy? Apparently. All those in favor? Okay, all right, so now we know who the liaison and point person is. That passed 6-0, I guess.
I do share Jody's concerns too about the reoccurring monthly fee.
Yeah.
I mean, we're working, trying to make this website more, more relevant.
Yeah.
But, $250 a month
Yeah, so that
seems.
it was an opportunity to throw out a talking point. So now we have a place to start from, right? So basically, it's an hourly cost.
Right.
So we just have to decide if we want to have updates done, how many hours do we want to do, over what period do we want to do it? So, because Wendy has said, what you can do is you can feed me pictures and raw information, and we can generate all the content and fit it in. So, say you had an event like the bike race that's coming up, and you wanted to make sure that was highlighted on the web page somewhere, you could send her pictures and when things were done, and they'll do it all up and put it up there. Or you can do all the layout and everything that you kind of want to have done and just have them clean it up. It's really depends on how much effort you want to have. If you want to have them, if every meeting we had a meeting that said, yeah, we need to add this event to the calendar. Well, if we were on a monthly type deal, I could just say, hey, Wendy, add that event to the calendar for us, and that would be it. You just do that. So, or do we want to maintain and do that kind of regular maintenance, and we only utilize Weatherby for a new page or a new property or something like that?
Or when we have our next point that we're going to talk about, when that's done.
Yeah, right.
That I can see is something that will take some time.
Yeah.
But in between
Okay.
now and then, I don't see a whole lot that's going to need.
So what happens now with the website, just so you have an idea of the maintenance, if you bring it up right now, I bet you'll find that it still speaks to the seedling giveaway. That was a month ago.
Yeah.
So, because I just haven't gotten around to updating the website. So that's what's happening or what's new thing doesn't get updated very often. Because I just don't get to it.
Yeah.
When I look at all that I need to do, it's not high enough up the priority list. I like to do it, but I just don't get the time to do it. So if we don't utilize kind of a monthly or very quick turnaround periodic event, someone still has to continue to do that, or the data gets stale. And yes, we've moved the most changing data to the top, but it still doesn't change very often.
I guess that's my. I mean, you brought up the bike race. We do an event like that. That's a couple months away, and so we're going to spend $250 a month up until the point where we say, okay, now we want to put that on.
Yeah, no.
And all the months up at that point, we haven't done a thing.
Yeah.
It seems like I'd almost like a third option. It's like, she gave us an hourly rate. We can, we can once a month give her, or however often we need to make an update. Here's our update information, and she could give us a price to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, will she work that way? Isn't that kind of how they're doing it now? I mean, do we get?
Yeah.
We don't have a monthly retainer
No,
with them now.
we don't have a retainer with them now, so we haven't paid them. We haven't paid them any money since we paid them for the update 4 years ago.
Oh.
Okay. So
She still answers my phone calls.
she does.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's very nice of her.
Yeah.
And she's put some effort in just
Yeah.
putting all this
Yeah, she
proposal
did,
together.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
And I did let her know that I understand time is money, and told her that if she'd like to bill us for her activities, that I would be open to bringing that to the commission.
Yeah.
Even if we decided, say we decided for a year to do something quarterly, have us regularly scheduled update quarterly, then and see if it works, see if it's worth the money to us. Monthly, I can't get behind that. It's too much money. If we did something quarterly, but then that would force the commission to plan ahead and to make sure that she has the information for an event such as this. Say, okay, we've got to plan out the next 3 months worth of events and make sure that information gets to our webmaster. So that would force this group to have to do that, which I don't think is that unreasonable for us to do. and try that and see if it meets our needs. If that's too much, then do once every 6 months. Or if it's not enough, then we'd have to talk about, okay, we're going to have to start paying for monthly, or someone else in the group's going to have to volunteer their time to do it. So possibly that would be a way to start, do a year worth of quarterly updates and see how that goes.
That would be a much better sounding.
Okay.
Because it puts a little onus back on us, saying, look, okay, you know, you guys we need to come up with something. We need to come up with some data, something fresh.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
That was
That's cool in here, though.
Okay.
trying out my contacts.
Right, so as I started this whole conversation, the two items really are separate. One's a you know, a project, and one is a maintenance activity. So we can work them two separately. Would you like me to go forward with proposing, how many hours do we think we wanted to engage with quarterly? Is it 3 hours?
I don't feel comfortable saying how much
Okay.
time it's going to take her to do what we want.
All right.
You know what I mean?
All right, I understood.
Yeah.
All right.
Would-
But I think for planning purposes, she's gonna need to know that should I be allocating every quarter 3 hours for the Merrimack Commission website?
She probably needs a number.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I that's what I'm saying. I'd be willing to, you know, kind of.
And then we'll see how it goes, because if in fact it turns out it takes 5 hours, then we'd be billed for 5
Right.
hours.
Well, she gave us a dollar amount for up to 3.5 hours per month. So we could say up to 3.5 hours quarterly.
Yeah.
Which would be the $250.
Right.
So $250 on a quarterly basis for 3.5 hours. Start that way?
Should we present the motion for the first piece and then the second piece?
I think so.
Can I make a motion?
Sure.
The first cost proposal, which I don't know how we would title it. I guess Project 1, maybe?
Okay, so she broke them up by ongoing support and in the remodel of the website.
Okay, so for the remodel of the website, I'd like to make a motion that we go with her recommendations and cost proposal for the remodel
From Fund 53?
from Fund 53.
Okay, and realize that she has stated there that she likes to have a 10% contingency in there that we can work.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to have a 10% contingency.
Yep.
So this is the
Before we-
$5,000 project, right?
$5,000, yeah,
Okay, I second.
with the 10% contingency, right? Any further discussion on the remodel project? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. So that's 600, okay? So that's good, all right, so now the ongoing support.
I'll make a motion that we accept the proposed project for ongoing support. Do we want to say from Weatherby Creative?
Yeah.
And we'll contract on a quarterly basis for up to 3.5 hours quarterly at $250 quarterly for descriptive support and maintenance of our website. From Fund 53?
Fund 53, yep.
Second.
Any further discussion on that?
I would just like to clarify, so are we gonna limit ourselves to 3.5 hours quarterly?
Yes.
So if she comes back and says, oh yeah, I can put all that stuff on there and it's gonna take 5 hours, we're not gonna do it? I mean, I just don't understand, I don't know enough about it to know how much time it's gonna take her to put stuff on it. I don't know what we give her. We may give her a package and she's like, that's great, I can do it, but that's like a 6-hour job. And I don't know what a 6-hour job versus a 3.5-hour job looks like.
Right.
So I just don't wanna, if we have something really great that we wanna put up there, I don't wanna limit ourselves to not being able to put it up.
So I would think that when we decided at our meeting that this was something we wanted to get done,
Yep.
then we would have to take a vote that allows her to go beyond.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay.
I would too. Because then otherwise, Gage, why don't we just do it monthly and spend the money? If we're going to go above and beyond the 250 on a quarterly basis, then that's going to increase. I understand what you're saying, but this is a budgeting
Yep.
issue, and I honestly don't think we're going to come up with that much work on a quarterly basis, but I could be wrong.
I don't know what that much work is.
But there wouldn't be any point in my mind to setting up a payment schedule like this if we didn't want to stick to a dollar amount. That's my way of thinking.
And with having the big project coming up with the new mapping and things like that, that may be big.
Yeah.
Right.
So we should leave in, yes, quarterly, 3.5 hours. However, if there's something that's going to take, we can take that up at the time that comes up to us.
Yeah.
And the
Even-
commission can always do that.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is a retainer, so we're paying it, whether we use it or not.
Right. Yeah, it says for up to, so.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, because you want her to be available to do the
I'm
work.
just saying, but so I mean.
So that's another reason not to go over
Well, that's what
the
I'm saying.
dollar amount.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. If it's gonna be a billable item, if it's gonna be a 6-hour job, can we make some allowance for saying, that's a job that's gonna take X, I can just bill you the difference. But
Yeah.
I'm fine with going the other way too. We'll take a vote on items that
Right.
we want to take. That's fine.
And is
Yeah.
this for like a year? Are we?
Yeah, and then revisit it.
For,
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
so is that part of your desire for 1 year, and then we'll go from there?
I think it should be, I think the commission should have a formal discussion after, I mean, if it's not working prior to a year, we should have a formal
Right.
discussion. But if it's working and we just go along happily and merrily for a year, then I think we should make a point to have a formal discussion to revisit it again.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it. And if, I've talked to Wendy a number of times already, and if something's not working, she's not gonna ignore it. I mean, she's gonna work with us to get it fixed and working, so.
Yeah.
I don't have any concern that,
But this way she's guaranteed too, and she
Absolutely.
knows that we want her on a regular basis, and this is how much time we want you to at least set aside to be available for us.
Yep, absolutely.
So
And then if it's not enough, then
Fix
to
it.
be specific with the motion, could we add when it will start?
Yeah.
You started with the new website?
I think we started after acceptance of the new website.
right, so 3 months after the acceptance of the new website, she should expect the commission to give her information to update. But it wouldn't make sense to me to do it prior to that.
So what I'm gonna do is, she'll obviously see this discussion. I'm gonna ask her to put together a new one, make sure all our points are covered. Since it's not kicking in right away, that's not the first thing. We'll have time to look at it one more time at another meeting, okay? So I don't think necessarily that we need to take a vote tonight.
Okay.
I think we've discussed the terms, and we'll let her come back with the terms in case she needs to modify them for any reason or whatever, so.
Okay.
Right?
Good.
Fair?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so that takes us to the next item, and that is the mapping proposal from the NRPC. So as you all recall, we had Sarah and Ryan here at our last meeting. They answered questions, we talked about different things, and it's, Sarah has emailed me a Word version of the proposal, so we can actually tinker with the wording if we want to. But that also involved kind of a two-stage project. One of them is all the mapping things we wanted to do, and the other is the story maps, which would be an addition to the website that would be more dynamic to the user as opposed to clicking on maps and links and things like that. So what's the thought of the commission now that we've had a chance to have the discussion and look over costs and everything else?
Personally, I'm not a fan of the story maps. if I'm going to look at a map, I just want to see the map.
Yep.
I'll see the story out in the woods.
Yep, that's fair. That's good. That's what we might need to find out. So, anyone else have a thought on the story maps? Yep.
The story maps are great, but I don't know for a conservation commission of a town our size with the funds our size that it's worth the money. Personally, I'd rather see like the updated website and the better maps to spend our funds on. So while I think story maps can be really cool and add a lot, I personally wouldn't be in favor of spending the extra money on them right now, especially because I think we've got a lot of initiatives.
Yep.
So
I just think, especially with the young folks now,
Yep.
if you put it all on here, they aren't going in the woods. They got it all right here. Oh, I saw it. Yeah, I don't have to go there. My opinion.
Yep.
my reasoning is a little less down that path, Matt, because it takes all kinds and to each their own. I just don't think financially speaking it's something that we should be spending our money on right now.
Yep. I completely understand and I agree. But it was something that they wanted us to be aware of, and I thought it was cool enough to bring to you. So
Oh, it is.
That's
Yeah.
why we did that. So, yep. All right. So is that the consensus of the commission? Is that story mapping is not something we want to do? Okay, Gina. Do you have an opinion on this?
I do. I'm all for saving money.
Oh, saving money.
All right. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I like them, but I agree that I don't think our properties are big enough for them and for the money.
Yep. Okay.
Let's not
I mean,
spend it.
I also think that the story maps are going to capture one season, and our seasons change so drastically in New England that they're not going to look the same anyway when you go on to it. So
Yeah.
it's not worth the money.
Yeah, if the chamber wanted to do something to elevate Merrimack or the Rotary or someone else, I think we could add content. But I agree, we probably shouldn't be the sole provider and then look for other people to help offset costs or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what about the remaining aspects of the project?
I think it's going to take some work from us,
Yes.
volunteers, helping get this thing moving.
Yep.
So we're going to have to clear time in our schedules.
Yep, I agree. Each property is going to consume probably 3 to 8 hours of at least the major properties of someone's time. The Horse Hill and the Greater Woods. Wildcat Falls, not so much. In fact, they might even be able to do Wildcat Falls on their own. So,
Would it be worthwhile to try to start on some of the smaller properties to kind of get an idea how much impact this is going to take?
my thought is that we really need a consistent map structure going forward.
Right.
I think having them hold the data and put it together is a great way to get it done.
Yeah.
So, there really is only one small property, and that's Wildcat Fall. There's also Wasserman. So-
Wasserman.
Yeah, if we include our trails, though, adjacent, that's
Yeah, I think we should. It's 100 acres.
Yeah.
Right. So,
No, I think overall that this would be great to do, and like I said, have consistency between all the properties and the maps and
yeah.
data.
I guess what I'm getting at is I think in the long run we're going to do them all anyways.
Right.
So whether we start with the smaller ones or we do the bigger ones, it's just a matter of coordinating when we're going to do it, which is why the timeline originally was so long, because they knew they'd be back and forth and the coordination and stuff like that. So I think they're open to that, or at least they acknowledge the fact that this is not something that's going to be done in a month. So, but again, it does require the commitment, and quite honestly, when you're looking at Greater Woods, I kind of look in this direction. Okay.
I was gonna look at Matt.
So, I think Horse Hill, maybe not so much. I think someone else could do that because we already have something to go from.
And we also have a couple attendees, that are retired
Right.
and would love, I'm sure, to go out and help with this.
Who's our latest alternate? I'm sorry, I'm bad with names.
Don.
Don, yes. He's already done a tremendous amount of mapping out there. So I think we can get Horse Hill done with that map structure. Just have them recollect the data in a format that fits there, that gives the precision.
Yep.
So we may not even have to do that, but Greater Woods, someone's going to have to go with them, no matter what. And Wasserman Conservation Area, someone's going to have to go with them, no matter what, because we've got really very few markings out there. So.
And this is going to also involve us putting up some discontinued trail signs and doing some things to back up the maps. So this is a commitment more than just
One
time and dollars.
Yeah.
This is more than a one-time commitment.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, and we're probably gonna have to mark more.
Yep. So, but it gets us on that path of a nice, consistent, easily usable maps.
I think starting with smaller one like Wasserman might be a good idea, and then Horse Hill, just because Horse Hill's been established for so much longer, and I think saving Greater Woods to last because it's just
changing.
huge, changing, so much going on. And Matt's got a great point that there will have to be more signage and all that stuff. So I think leave Greater Woods for now to the last.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
But if you started with Wasserman, you might learn an awful lot about the process too, and things that you might do differently when you go out and walk something bigger.
Yeah.
So,
What's the time frame on this from start to finish that you're looking for?
Well, they can't start it before July 1 anyways. Their
I think
next
they went
fiscal
into
year.
2017 with their
Yep.
timeline, right?
It goes all the way out
August.
to 17.
August 2017.
Okay.
So
It takes us longer. It takes us longer. I mean,
I don't think there's a rush here. I think it's more about quality, right? Getting the quality right in the way we want it. So,
Yeah, but I also don't want it to. I want it done.
right.
I don't want it. Well, I know, but yeah, granted.
Well,
we
I
want-
think she said that depended on us, right?
Yeah, we want it done. We want it done right, but we need it. We need it done.
Yeah.
And she did a great job showing our 3 very different maps in
Yeah.
poor
Yes.
quality on the front. It was like, ah.
Yeah, we did that. Thanks a lot.
Oh, you mean this?
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of the way I started when I sat down with it the first time. I said, look at this, this, and this, okay? Does that tell you why we need to look at doing a mapping project?
Her marketing brain went bing.
Yep. Yeah, but they're not a private commercial company, so that's also in our favor, so,
And they're using this data.
yes. It's good for our region to have this data. Because we should be thinking regionally as well, as we have been with Amherst,
Yes.
next to Greater Woods and stuff like that, so this could help facilitate some of that too, so. Okay. So, is there a motion on this item then?
Before we make a motion,
Yep.
maybe discussion pre-motion.
Okay.
She did say these numbers are negotiable when she was here.
Okay, so where are you going with that?
I'm just stating I'm remaking her statement.
Mhm. Yeah, I think scope changes if you want a number change. So
You mean
if you want to readjust this.
Timeline.
No, I mean, what will be done, what will be accomplished, okay?
Deliverables.
I
Understood. So you're saying deleting story meant we could just wipe that right off and you think this is still a viable quote?
Yep, I think so.
Okay.
And if not, we'll find out. So, but we have to put a stake in the ground today in order to move forward with this, because she'll tell us right away, no, I can't do that, or I can do that. So.
Right, I understood when she said that it was depending on the scope of work that we wanted done. If we wanted more or less done, we could negotiate the rates.
Right.
Okay.
But my impression was that these numbers, she was pretty confident that that was the right cost for those activities. So, and there is a paragraph on each one of those activities explaining what that scope involves. So. So basically, the total thing was $8,100. You take $1,200 off, you're at $69. So this will require someone to do that interaction, and it's going to require people to go in the field, and I don't think it's necessarily has to be the same people. So I mean, I've already started the relationship. I don't mind that part of it, but I can't do the Greater Woods. I wouldn't get it right. So, and I probably wouldn't get Wasserman Conservation right. But I think there's enough mapping that's been done on it. Someone could say, hey, Tim, there's enough mountain bike maps and everything else that have been done. You say, yeah, that's the real one. And of course, they'll capture the right data, but I get really confused over by the dam where a whole bunch of trails all kind of come together. What do we want to call the real trail? What do we not want to call the real trail? So that's why I get messed up out there. So that, and I'm not sure where all the features are that we want to capture: bridges, benches, the workout stations, and all that stuff that is out there from when the scout did the workout, the exercise path. So that will need help. So I'm happy to do the logistical stuff, the relationship and project manage, if you want to call it that. But I'm not the field guy. So.
We can coordinate that.
Okay. As long as you're willing to help with that part of it. So. Okay.
Looking for a motion?
I am. Keeps us moving forward.
I'm gonna do it. Well, all right, I'll make a motion that we accept the proposal of the NRPC to create maps for our 4 properties, except for the story map line item. So the total would be $6,900 from Fund 53.
Yep. You gonna give me any leeway on that one? You gonna give me a 10% leeway on that, in case I?
Oh yes,
contingency?
yes, with a 10% contingency.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
10% plus or minus.
Yeah, right, yeah.
There you go,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
So we got to put an incentive fee in here?
Yeah.
Right?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So that passes 6-0-0. Okay, good. I will get with Sarah and we'll get this thing kicked off as well. So she can plan it into her next budget cycle and all that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think so. Good. Okay, so that's all I have for old business. New business. I put this first item, the water for maintenance on Horse Hill, on the agenda because I was asked by members of the subcommittee, but I see no members of the subcommittee here. Cindy, do you want to talk to this at all?
Well,
Do you know much about this?
I mean, I don't know a lot of necessarily, well, I don't know what the answers, I guess, would be to the questions that you,
Okay.
had posed.
What do you? So let me switch the game on you a little bit. So I stopped by Roland's house on Saturday after I viewed the parking lot. I was out for a bike ride, and Roland mentioned to me that the water line runs different than where they thought.
Oh.
The parking lot activity is not going to interrupt the water line.
Oh.
And that to run a line from the water line over near the kiosk would be a fairly long line that had to be run. Now that they understand where the line really exists, because in putting the parking lot in, I was clear with Kyle that we needed to know where the current line is so we didn't disturb it.
Right.
And that you can turn it on today, and when the parking lot's all done, we still want to turn it on and have it work just the same way. So in order to put something near the kiosk, there would need to be a larger activity done. So Roland thought, well, maybe we don't need to do it, or maybe we're not going to do it.
What's a larger activity?
He's going to have to dredge it, we have to cut into it and cut a line over, or we put a faucet right in the middle of the line, and someone has to walk out to a faucet in the middle of the woods if they want to use it.
Oh, okay, but that's what I'm saying. So how far is that distance?
I don't know.
we don't.
I didn't spend that much time. He had family there, and
Okay, all right, that's fine.
I
That's
didn't want to
reasonable.
disturb him. So I was under the impression that he was going to try and make it here tonight, and I got no indication from no one else that they wouldn't be here tonight, so I don't know anything more about this. All I know from the email chain that I think that I asked a number of questions that I think have to be answered if we're going to put a faucet out there.
Re-agenda.
So what's that?
Re-agenda.
Yeah. Okay.
My only question is will it be too late when the parking lot is finished?
No, since the parking lot's not going to impact the line,
Okay.
it's now really a truly separate project.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
then, yeah, that's fine then.
Yeah. All right, I will see if there's still interest from the subcommittee in re-agenda. Okay? All right, so that takes us to other business. So, other business. First one, land donations. Well, we finished one. So we now own another parcel over by Brookside Drive.
Yay.
Which brings up Brookside Drive and invasives. Has anyone driven by there recently and seen how our
No.
herbicide activities went? Okay, all right. We'll have to follow up on that. So, the other donation hasn't gone any further yet. I'm waiting on the donor, the developer, to decide they actually want to move forward with the donation and move forward with the project. Last week, DES, Lori chimed in and said, what's going on? And she hasn't gotten, I don't know what reply they gave her. I told the folks at Meridian that I'm waiting on the donor. I've done everything I needed to do. I provided comments on what the language should look like, and waiting for the donor to move forward. So that's all I have on that. Horse Hill parking lot, a lot of the early site work's been done. Stumps, trees are all gone. If you drive by there, there's been some excavation of material. It looks like they're getting ready to complete the excavation and then build up. Kyle sent me an email to say that they're looking to close the whole parking lot down for a couple of weeks in order to finish it. This weekend it was open.
It was closed today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I drove by and it was closed.
Yeah, so they're actually going to close the parking lot to complete the activity,
It's
which
not
is what we
stopping people
expected.
from parking up completely up both sides of the road.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunate.
Do we have any kind of sign telling people that they can park at Natticook?
Not that I saw, unless it's on the kiosk that
It's
you can't get to.
It's probably on the kiosk, because I did see one at the other entrance.
Yeah.
They had a sign up on that. Actually, before you even, from Old Kings Highway, they have the sign out there before you start to go down the driveway.
Yeah.
And there was a sign there that it was probably the same sign that was over there saying that parking lot was gonna close,
Oh, okay.
and that this one could be used.
So.
But I don't know where the sign is. Here, like you said, if it's on the kiosk or,
It's on the kiosk. People aren't going to see
they're not
it.
gonna see it now,
They're already
yeah.
in the parking lot.
But I didn't stop to see if they had it,
Yeah, if we could,
maybe they put it on that fence
yeah,
out
if we
there.
could put another sign up there with the actual address,
Right.
because a lot of people that show up there don't know Natticook Road. That doesn't mean anything to them.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I don't even know if I don't know if it even lists Natticook. I think it says Old Kings Highway, talks about the Old Kings Highway parking lot, but I can't remember. I'll go by if I can remember.
That's a tough Google road to find too, though.
Do what?
That's a tough road to
There
Google.
were several cars parked on Atticook on my way over here tonight,
Oh, okay.
so,
Just at that where Quarry crosses it.
yes.
Yeah.
But there was about 6 cars.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So maybe it does say it.
They're all safe, they're all far off the road and
Yeah,
it's
there's
fine. Yeah.
access over there, but
Yep.
for 6 cars, that's it.
So do we have a problem, or are we just gonna let it go and wait for Kyle or someone to say there's a problem?
I think we probably do have a problem, but it's not a huge safety thing. I mean, people are off the road,
Right.
but we aren't going to stop people from going there.
Right. And I believe the subcommittee had mentioned after the project's completed to put signs up to say no parking on the road, on the actual road.
Yeah.
But for now.
We can't, the town has to make that decision.
Yeah.
by the way.
Oh, okay, right,
Yeah.
all right, or to,
To put up a no parking
ask
sign.
the
yeah,
town
The
to-
town has to do
Mhm.
that, so we can make a recommendation that happens, but.
It's only for a few weeks.
yeah.
This isn't forever.
Yeah, so they were hoping to actually be done in 2 weeks. They
Oh.
had a longer contingency time, but
Okay.
felt that the way the project was moving forward, that they hoped to get it done in 2 weeks. So,
Nice.
Great.
So Roland also mentioned to me when I was talking with him that they're thinking that when they do the Amherst Road repairs, that might cause them to crunch up the material and you know they might be taking a layer off of Amherst Road, because I don't know if you've driven Amherst Road, but there's a number of places that are really bad. So it's on the list of roads that need to get repaired. That if they do that project next year or something like that, that there may be some ready-made material that just has to go a quarter of a mile up the road, get dropped and get spread. And we may end up with that surface that's at Warsaman in the next couple of years,
Good.
which could then be striped and all that too. So that's a possibility coming up. So,
Great.
yeah. But I still think the gravel is adequate anyways, no matter whether we get that or not. So, right? So that's all I have on that. Gate installations. We have 2 gates.
2 gates are in.
So can you, which ones are now? These the outer ones or the inner ones?
Of course, the contractor, being a very responsible contractor, did not want to go through the wetland.
Yeah.
So he did one side,
Okay.
and then wants to go around and do the other side from Wilson Hill.
Yep.
So it's an outer and an inner
Yep.
on one side of the
The north
wetland
side then?
impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the coming from Greater Road from South Babusick
Okay.
is where he started.
Right.
And those were also 2 gates that we decided definitively where the gates would be. The other side was a little more, where exactly do we put them? And the subcommittee, Gage, myself, and other members of the subcommittee were able to walk out there last week and make some decisions as a subcommittee on where they should go and how they should be oriented and things like that.
And they'll be on our property no matter what.
Yes,
right?
yes, that was one of the things, and
We don't want to be on the El Corral property.
right, it was very good. Also for the subcommittee, some of the members who had not been to those locations, to truly see exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah, okay.
So
All right.
we also walked a number of the existing trails. So, but the gates, the next 2, I think they're going to be Saturday, the 11th. Yeah, I think the other 2 will be Saturday. I have not seen any of the signage.
Yeah, so I emailed Kyle, asked him, he said the signs are on order, he doesn't have them yet.
Okay.
Right? But they are definitely on order. He also sent me a copy of what they look like in an email, so I can forward that to all of you. All right, I'll do that over the next day or 2, so that way we know exactly what's coming. Okay?
And are they going to put them up?
That wasn't clear. I didn't ask, okay?
So one way or the other, he'll have them and let us know when he has them.
Right.
And maybe we'll have to put them up.
Maybe we'll have to put them up, yeah. So, yeah, or maybe not.
The Amherst side
Yeah.
is already clearly marked subject to gates and bars. Now, I'm sure Amherst put those signs up.
Yeah, in the town of Amherst.
In
they
the
put
town of
that,
Amherst.
Right, yeah.
But it's,
That's for their portion, but,
steps before the...
and that's Greater Road, actually. Technically, that's Greater Road that they put it on. Not South Greater Road.
Yeah, so when at 90 degrees, is that turn it to South Grader Road? Where's the
So
line?
the Greater Road goes past the Bender property,
Mhm.
past their front door. So yes, where it turns and goes this way, that's now South Greater Road.
So where it intersects with Gateway.
So, all right, let me start again. So coming in from when it's paved, at the point it turns into dirt, that's Greater Road, and that road going straight south past the front door of the Bender property is Greater Road.
Okay.
Okay, the road that goes along this side property line is South Greater Road,
Where our gate is.
where our gate is a couple of hundred feet down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So everything that's in Merrimack is South Grader Road.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an easy. Just
Yeah, everything that's in Merrimack is South Greater Road. Yeah, because it actually leaves, South Greater Road actually leaves and goes into the town of Amherst for a few feet before it hits that intersection.
Mm.
That intersection is not the town line. The town line is so the Bender
Down- yeah,
property. The
down
Bender
the-
property is in
down that
both
rock.
Amherst and in Merrimack.
Right.
There's that rock, it's got the
Yeah.
A&M on it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
Okay.
that section of Greater Woods is clearly marked as well
Yeah.
with our property boundaries.
Right. It is. Yep. Okay. So when the signs come, we'll figure out how we're going to get them installed.
Okay.
All right.
And then we can decide on chains and locks, because we
Right.
currently don't have chains or locks.
Yep. Yeah, we need to do that at the same time once we put the signs up. Yep. Okay, which will be an expense that we'll have to cover, right? We're all good with going out and buying the right thing when we need to, right? Because we'll have to make sure that emergency services knows how to get through the gate, like we've done in other places.
Right.
So,
And in fact, the John Manueli wanted to go out there and understand.
yeah, that'd be great. Yep.
So maybe we'll schedule that with the subcommittee.
Yeah, so we'll probably not want to actually lock the gate, close and lock it until we've coordinated with fire and police so that they know what's going on. Okay? Yeah. We may even want to invite Amherst to the discussion, but we'll,
Yeah, they. I have been keeping members of their
yeah.
commission aware.
What I'm thinking is maybe Amherst Emergency Services about what we're doing,
Oh,
in case they ever think they need to come on
Get
our
the call.
property.
Yeah.
Right? Or they get called to assist, right? So, yeah, we can talk to John about that. John may be able to coordinate that. He might even be able to do that level of training without us there, which would be ideal, right? So you talked a little bit about your trail walk. You did a trail walk with the subcommittee. Now there's talk of doing a trail walk for the D2 and D3 trails only.
Yes, and I think that came about because of the last subcommittee meeting. We were informed how they proposed trails, and we didn't feel that was quite appropriate. And I think the understanding by the Right Riders is that the stewardship plan with their D trails on it meant that they could construct them without much conversation with us.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gage is.
Which has never been the case. We
Yeah.
talked about that originally when we put those in proposed trails, that these are proposed, these are not trails, they have to be flagged and marked and walked before. And it was pretty evident.
Yeah.
But they are now being built and ridden.
D2 and D3?
Yeah.
So let me take a hard line here. D2 is on a parcel of land owned by the Conservation Commission. owned by the Conservation Commission, deeded to the Conservation Commission. If anyone is on our property doing something that's not authorized, they are liable for arrest and prosecution, in my opinion. Flat out. Okay, you can give that message to anyone. I'm saying it on public. That's my opinion, and I would prosecute to the fullest extent of the law for people who knowingly do that.
And that's the key. This is knowingly.
Yeah. So that's the D2 trail. The D3 trail is partially on town property that we have been charged to manage, which also has a conservation easement on the top of it too. The D2 trail, sorry, D3, sorry, I already done with D2. D3 trail is going to overlap where we're going to redirect the road. So we have an emergency access road, which we explained with the town council and others. I think the D3 trail, no construction happens on that until we know where we're going to put that road. Because there's no sense in having a road 10 feet away from a trail. They should overlap. And we have not done the engineering that says where we're going to put the D3 trail. So therefore, I think no D3 trail activities go beyond proposition until we do the engineering that says where this emergency road really should go. Because there's uplands involved, and there's forestry concerns and emergency response concerns and all that. It's not, it doesn't completely one-for-one overlap, but there's a good enough portion of it that we need to do that level of work first. So that's my opinion.
No, that's a very good point, because that's what did happen in Greater Woods.
Mm-hmm.
There was a trail that's not a brickyard. That's why it gets so close to the road at that point. I don't know if you remember the first bridge on Brickyard when you're coming across it. It's right over the big culvert. That trail used to cut up right up through when the road went in, and that ended the trail. So we, had that exact situation happen.
Well, there's a reason that membership of that subcommittee is made up the way it is.
Yeah.
And so that group of townspeople will have a voice. If they're not attending meetings and they're not interested in following process, which we all know can be painfully slow sometimes, but you know what? The rules apply to everybody, not just those of us that choose to follow them. So these are conscious decisions, and all of these people have been involved in town government, Conservation Commission work for years and years and years. So this, in my opinion, is knowingly doing something that they know they're not supposed to do. And they apparently don't want to wait for however long it takes for process to go through. And when you participate in a subcommittee of this nature, and then you get to a group this large and all-encompassing, a lot of times you have to address things that may not be of personal interest to you, but that's part of being the group. That's part of the work that you do on behalf of the town. And if we all were in this just serving our own personal self-interest, then nothing would get done, or things would get done inappropriately. So it can't be that way. Sorry, it can't be that way. And there's no reason for that to happen. And if these individuals who want a certain type of use on this property are not willing to follow process and are not willing to follow the rules and do the work and participate in the meetings, because I know Matt just loves to go to meetings, if they're not willing to do that too, then they don't have the rights to create trails or things on their own on property that everyone else is working so hard to try and manage and make cohesive. So I personally, and I know this isn't any surprise to you guys that have known me for years, I don't have a problem with saying, this is going to stop. Like Tim said, we'll prosecute. This is our property. You're on here doing things without permission, and it needs to stop now. And we know who's doing it. So time for games is over. It's over. There's too much work has been done to move forward with all of this property and these groups and the volunteers that are working on this town. I think it's time for the game playing to come to an end, personally.
Yeah, and we did see a lot of evidence as well on our constructed and signed trails of unauthorized use. on non-motorized trails, motorized use.
And that's been going on for years and years and years.
I think lately it's kind of ramped up quite a bit. And the subcommittee, when we were out there, we made some observations, and in the next meeting I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about certain signs going in certain areas and things like that. But on a happier note regarding trails and things over there, we did get a few new trails signed, and there's a lot of activity on them. Looks like people are hiking and biking. I've heard from Mike and some of the other hiking folks about certain trails, and we've gotten a lot of feedback. So I guess a question that the subcommittee has for the Conservation Commission is, we've observed some trails out there that aren't on the map right now, but are used and have been used. How do we propose them as a trail? And trails that exist and shouldn't exist, how do we discontinue them and sign them, block them appropriately? How does the commission want the subcommittee to do those types of things?
So we'll take the first part, trails that you want to bring into the system, right?
Mm.
I think we should have some sort of a map discussion as to where they are, and we should offer the opportunity for the commission to go view them, and then we can take a vote afterwards to authorize them as trails and add them to the, as well as if we add them to the trail system, we have to add them in as a category. Are they category A, B, C, or D, or is there a new E category? I'm just throwing that out there. Hopefully not.
Yes.
Okay. And so I think that's the process for doing that. I think the process for unauthorized trails that we don't want to have, I would say every trail that's not on the map, that hasn't gone through the approval process, is an unauthorized trail.
Because D4 exists and is being ridden
Yeah, so.
and has never come before the
Right,
subcommittee
so
or
D4
this.
doesn't exist legally, right?
That-
Understood. It's being used, I understood, but it doesn't technically exist as in an authorized trail. It's not an authorized trail. So,
How do you shut these things down? I've seen you physically, you can get some equipment out there and move some really big rocks, but then I've seen
go around.
them go, yeah, so I don't know that we physically can do that, and then you'd be out there 24/7 calling the
Yeah,
police,
right.
Matt, on people, so I don't,
And it's not even worth it anymore.
No.
It's been used so much now.
Yeah, and the police.
Right.
Call the police.
Understood.
Because this brings up another point that we do need to think about. And the last time that we purchased property in Greater Woods, and we were before town council, and they brought up, long term. Right now we have money, and we can fund things. That money stream is going to run out.
Yep.
How do we maintain trails, 10 years from now or 15 years from now, however? We're building all these trails. The amount of maintenance that we're putting in on trails, and particularly Matt, is not sustainable at some of the motorized trails. They're going to be a lot more maintenance. So it's just something that we need to,
So that gets into whether or not we authorize the trail or not, right?
well, yeah, but it's going to be, we're going to end up at a point where, we can't maintain a trail. It's going to be too bad or too badly beat up. We don't have the money to maintain some of these trails.
Right.
So we're gonna have to really start thinking long term as to how we put, where and how we, put these trails in.
So my only comment on that is D2, D3, and D4 are probably in a unique category because they were already sort of proposed, just don't have the final location and authorization.
Yep.
But I think we have all the ability in the world to prevent a D5, a D6, or a A10 or whatever
Right.
trail, okay? Knowing that we have that issue. Yeah.
That Gateway Trail that had, I mean, all the work that was done on that, and in my mind, and how many years I've lived here, it wasn't that long ago, and that trail the stones got shoved out, that trail got trashed in no time at all. It's like you're going to be spending an unbelievable amount of money maintaining trails like that, and I don't.
Look at Red Maple.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's one downhill
It's never made sense to me. And I understand that everybody pays taxes and everybody has their thing that they enjoy doing in their spare time. But when you look at forget all the other stuff, forget going through the wetlands knowingly, forget all the other disregard for the land that some of these people have, the target shooting included. You just think about just the money that it costs to maintain motorized trails, and like you said, we're not going to have this pot of money. There's not going to be the change of land use tax input forever for us, and it just makes no sense to sink the money into it now without a steady stream of revenue coming in. If there was money coming in specifically for that purpose, then maybe you could consider it, but that's not happening.
Well, we may reach the point where the town has to make a decision, like we've made the decision to maintain Wasserman Park and the water side and all that stuff. We may have to make a decision that part of the town budget is going to be the maintenance of certain or all these trails.
Yep.
That might just become part of the public works activities. Oh, well. All right, so, but let's go all the way back to, I know I kind of got fired up there a little bit. So D2 and D3 trail walk, is there a plan? Is it planned for tomorrow?
I never got it agended. I didn't hear back from enough people.
Yeah. I was wondering about Joe's comments, like, well, let's go anyways, that's enough people, and I kind of, I understand his
honestly
zeal.
didn't know what it was. That's why I didn't reply. I wasn't sure what the purpose was. I think I have a clearer idea of what the purpose is now, but I didn't know.
And the subcommittee was very anxious to get out there, and that's why we proposed a walk
Right.
last week. None of the Right Riders came to that, publicly agended walk. So, and the goal was not to walk, those trails. However, we did walk some of those trails as well.
Yeah.
Just to get an idea of what was proposed, because we were walking trails in the area. So we did walk those trails, and that's when we learned, and we had some warning that we may find, but we did. We found trails in the areas where these trails were proposed, well ridden. So, it was, and I guess it was good for the subcommittee to understand that, while we waited a long time on building, like the Skyline Trail that was proposed, and waited 5 years before it actually happened. That went through all of the approvals here, subcommittee.
Yeah, okay.
The other trails just are being built.
So how do you want to deal with this? Do we need to reach out to the Right Riders and say they need to come to our next meeting and discuss it here? Do you want to take the subcommittee out of the picture for a while?
I think the trail walk should consist of Conservation Commission and subcommittee. I think everybody should be involved in that. I don't know that they need to come. They've been here.
Right.
I don't think that would be productive.
Okay.
But I think we all need to be out in the woods, the subcommittee, the Right Riders, and this body.
Yeah. All right, so we have to pick a time and date that works for everybody.
Yep.
Because tomorrow did not work for me. It was way too soon, no opportunity to plan.
Yeah, we were trying to find a date. We're trying to come up with like 2 or 3 dates. That was the only one that we could get back from a couple folks. That was the only day that worked. So
And that was the only day that worked for the Right Riders as well.
yeah, so we were trying to come up with like 3 or 4 dates, and so we could come up here with 2 or 3 and say, okay, you know, which one can we get the most people at?
Okay.
So we'll just have to keep going down that path.
Right. Yeah, so if we come up with a date that's at least a few weeks out, I have an opportunity to adjust schedule,
Yeah.
because I'd like to see it as well. Right, so that's one aspect. The other aspect is the illegal or inappropriate activity. It's really both that's going on right now. How do you want to address that?
I mean, it's no different than what's been going on for years out there.
Do we want to stage cameras and take pictures and collect evidence?
Oh, I already have all of that.
Yeah. All right.
So if you want the list of names of the people that are doing it, I
I
have that as well.
I would like names and pictures and dates, okay? And I'll take them to the police department, right? I'll volunteer to do that. I'll take you out of the, they're gonna, since I didn't take the pictures, someone's gonna ask you, so you might have to verify that you did the activity, or someone else did, or whoever, but I will take that up as a special activity. I'm not gonna go through the normal, go down to call center. I'm going to Chief Doyle and starting at the top, okay? Right? So, yeah, right now I'm at the point where they need to be told not to do it. But after they've been told, if they get caught, I'm going to push long and hard for what I said earlier. Prosecute to the full extent of the law. Because it just can't happen. It's not the Wild West. It's not their property. It's the commission's property for the people of the town of Merrimack. It's not for 1 or 2 people. And yeah, so yeah, if whatever you can give me for data, I'll look at it and I'll push it forward.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Anything else on this? All right. So the no-cut buffer activity at Wasserman Heights, not sure what's going on there at this point. I know the town is actively engaged there. They wanted to find out the name of our forester to have take a look out there. Their engineering organization that helps them for projects and stuff like that felt it wasn't in their normal activities. That's why they reached out to find out who our forester was, so the forester could help weigh in on things. That was
How long ago was that?
That was a couple, 3 weeks ago now.
Was I in on that one?
No,
Remember that
was
one.
a conversation in the office when I was in the office.
And who,
Julian asked me for
the
my-
forester?
for the
Right, I'll
forester's
follow up
information.
on that.
Okay. The encroachment onto Wasserman Conservation Area, the final engineering plan to fix that should be in front of the town folks shortly, and then the project will proceed. So I've heard nothing more from Anheuser-Busch, but I also haven't reached out to them again. Don't know, does anyone want to follow up with that?
It's a shame because
Yeah, I mean,
I
I'll
really think we
you-
could find something, but
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of, I got busy and I just don't have the cycles to do that. So I've given you all the original email. If one of you could reach out to
Yep.
to her or Anheuser-Busch, I think it'd be good to do.
Okay. I'll take that on.
Okay.
thanks, Gage.
So next meeting, we're going to have a non-public session. I'm going to try and keep the level of public activity down, but I can't stop the projects that need to be addressed because they have to be done in a timely manner. Beyond that, we've got Murray from the Natticook Lake Association who wants to come visit with us. I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, that sounds good.
But beyond that, I'm not planning on bringing up websites or net or any of that other stuff, or even most of this other things, because we have some things that we need to do in non-public, some potential negotiations that we need to be thinking about. We've got some draft minutes that need to be approved, and what I'd like to do is there's some activities that we've finished on, and they were discussed in non-public, and we need to review whether or not they can be released to the public now that the activity's over.
Speaking of Natticook Lake, were you aware, not to make a big deal about it or anything, but just wanted you to be aware that the association, they have an association there over at the lake, they wrote to the DES about the boat ramp.
Yeah?
Not in support of it at all. and they shared some concerns with the DES, but I understand that the town was granted approval
Yeah, the
by,
permit went through.
DES to move forward, but the Natticook Lake Association had some concerns. I was assured by Kyle that they'd be in discussion with the association and try to alleviate their concerns as best as they could. But they were not in support of that project at all, just so that you guys know that.
Okay. Well, maybe Murray will fill us in a little bit, because it came to us as well, so I guess if we were collaborating better, we would have gotten that input, so, yeah.
It was a surprise to me when I saw the letter. I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting it, and I was kind of at that point in the process. I guess it was information that it would have been a good conversation to have months prior to. But anyway, I wanted to be assured that they were at least going to be listened to, and we were going to try and do whatever we could to alleviate their concerns. I don't think we're going to get there anywhere near 100%, but I was told that they were going to continue to have conversations with them, so.
Okay. All right, so we'll be doing stuff in non-public to clean up old things, and I'm looking up the right process so we follow everything to the T, since it's important we get it right, so. Because I haven't been part of any activity like that since I left the council, more than 6 years ago now, so. All right. And that's all I have for other business. Anyone have anything else?
Yeah, real quick. The PWD has been back in touch with Beaver Solutions, and they're going to be back in on Wednesday to take care of the Mast Road and to Meeting House Road.
Oh.
So both of those areas are going to get culvert and fence.
Meeting House Road?
Merry Meeting.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you. So those are both areas that are going to have fences installed. Merry Meeting does feed the area behind Madison, which is still a problem, and is, you know, we had a device installed at the end of Mitchell Woods, and it seems as though now that they've made some dams between Madison and that Mitchell Woods area. So while Mike is here, I'm going to see if he has the bandwidth to go investigate. I know we talked about Palmieri Drive, but you said that those dams are seemingly pretty unattended right now by the beaver. They're not really doing anything more. When we go out, to the bottom of Palmieri Drive.
Sure.
We were concerned about the trail, but apparently it's been maintained.
Well, somebody said this week that they're back up over the trail again. The water's back up over the trail again.
All right, so we do need to have him come out and look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that.
All right. I'm not sure what his timing is on Wednesday. I'm trying to figure out a way to have someone meet him or get him down there to that spot. Because he tried to walk down there before, and they think they took a wrong turn.
I think Don might be willing to take him.
Okay. If I can get contact information.
Yeah. Sure. I'll get it to you tonight.
Anything else? Other business? Yeah.
Are we meeting in July? Do we have one meeting in
One
July?
meeting in
What's the
July.
date on that again?
18th.
The 18th, thank you. Got that mixed up with June, but you said it was June 20th.
Yep. Okay. Minutes of May 16th. I didn't get a chance to read through them. I did skim them, but I allotted myself some time today, and that got consumed.
Didn't get a chance either.
Oh, okay. If Cindy didn't do them, I'm not saying yes.
Oh,
So table the minutes to the next meeting?
Yes,
All right,
please.
so we'll table the minutes to the next meeting, all right?
Oh, boy, there's a lot there too.
Okay, so that brings us to public comment. Public's not here. Commissioner comments. Cindy?
I'm just gonna say that all the seedlings that I planted are all leafing out now, and I'm pretty proud, you know, that's happening. And I was looking out the window the other night, and I have the string on with the number, so I know what it is. But they seem to disappear a lot. So I look out there, and there is a female Baltimore Oriole desperately trying to get that string.
For her nest?
Yeah, it must have been for her nest. I mean, and she just kept trying, because it was, down, she kept trying to pull it down, and she would have had to go up to get it over the stem of it. So I felt bad. She eventually gave up, but it was really cute to watch. I tried to take some pictures, but she was moving so fast. I don't know if any of them came out, but. So I did go out and I moved it a little bit so it'd be easier if she comes back.
That's not survival of the
Must leave
fittest,
a
right?
bullet.
Just go through some string, just cut off and leave it alone.
Yeah. But that's all I have.
Evolution doesn't work that way, Cindy.
I know she doesn't really need the string for her nest, but she wanted that particular string. But it, maybe, now I know what happened to some of the other strings that have disappeared, or the little cards, But I mapped out my property, so I know what I planted where.
Way up in the branches of a big maple. It's going to be still number 2 hanging. Yeah, that's a maple tree. I tagged it.
Exactly. That's right.
It's a willow.
Yeah. I know. That's right.
Okay, Matt, do you have anything for us?
No.
Gage?
I have a new visitor in my yard.
Yeah.
Oh.
I have a large snapping turtle.
Ah.
That is, we've seen it now 3 days in a row. So I don't know.
Really?
I don't know if it's and never had one before, ever. And we've had the water there all the time. So I don't know what's changed, but
Got a nest maybe too?
I don't know. I've been trying to figure out where she's going, and I can't quite. It's a little bigger than a 78.
Yeah.
Kind of date myself, I guess, a little bit.
So,
A record.
so there's a 45, there's an LP, and then there's a
Oh,
78.
okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, 45, 78, 33,
Yes, I remember
and a
those.
third. Yeah. So,
Unfortunately, I knew what he was talking about.
Me too.
but, yeah, I can't see 3 days in a row. So we'll see.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, boy, she's got a big mouth.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's fast. Her head's fast. You gotta hold it way back in the shell.
Yeah. And
They're
then
great
watch
at
the
sharpening
claws.
pencils, though.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Anything
That's
else?
it. That's it.
Gina?
I just want to thank Matt for bringing cookies.
Yeah, which we'll have to have enjoy after, I guess.
Oh.
Now, so. They've been sitting in front of me, and I have been ignoring them. Jody?
I just wanted to let you all know that there hopefully is going to be a town meeting, another town-wide meeting with the DES, New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, and hopefully Merrimack Village District. I'm not positive on the date. There were 2 dates thrown out there, the 28th and the 29th of June. And I believe that the DES was asking for the 29th, but that date was not confirmed when I checked my email prior to coming here tonight. So tentatively, the end of June, there's going to be a town-wide PFOA update meeting. And I think, too, we have to just confirm with the school district that we can use the all-purpose room at the upper elementary school. So I'll let you guys know when there's a definite date in case you're interested in going. And then, of course, it will be posted on the town website, too. We do have a link on the town website regarding PFOA, the PFOA issue. So if you're looking for any updates and information, we do post things there as soon as we receive them.
All right, I've got 2 items. The Wildcat Falls Subcommittee is going to meet again. Hopefully by the end of this month, trying to put the date together. So what kind of diverted the committee for a little while is now cleared. So hopefully we can go from there. We still have an opening on that committee too. So actually I've got 3 things. So our subcommittees all need to be reappointed or new members appointed in the July timeframe. That's typically done at the July meeting, along with a review of our rules, or whatever we call them, our bylaws. So, and election of chair and vice chair, that's typically all done at the July meeting. So, the last item then is so Gage and I believe are up.
Yes.
So I have expressed the desire to continue as an alternate member starting in July. So I didn't want you to hear it from anyone else, so I thought I'd let you know. So what that means is that the July meeting will be the last meeting that I chair, if the council approves that. So that means at the July meeting, we'll need to make some decisions as to how we want to move forward as a commission. So.
Wait, I could see myself coming to a lot less meetings.
So,
You've got cookies and everything.
Get those back right now.
I've got some other things I need to get to, and so.
And he's not dying or going anywhere. He'll still be here.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, he'll be a huge support, more of a support than what we've had in the past, so.
Yeah. So at the same time, I am working on a chairman's or a handbook or whatever, so that to try and collect a lot of the notes and processes and thoughts and get them out of my head on paper. So at least that'll be available as well. So.
Okay.
All right. So. Sorry to end the meeting on such a notice. So that's all I have. We all set?
Motion.
Yeah.
Moved by Cindy,
Second.
seconded by Matt. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. That passes 6-0 at 9:08 p.m.
So, I mean, it makes
I can
sense.
see Shaw's.
Yeah.
You know, I could almost throw a rock to Shaw's. So,
Red Sox need you.
I'm sorry?
The Red Sox need you.
You know, they need something. I can tell you that. I'm not sure what it is. Number two.
Number 2, yeah.
Spirit of the ordinance is observed because ADM Vending and Coffee has been in the town of Merrimack for more than 10 years and has always strived to be a model business and has supported many local schools, sports teams, and charities.
All right, number 3.
Number 3, I believe that's the one. Somehow or other, when this was emailed to me, I seem to have gotten an old version. I guess you have a new version of number 3, which is granting the variance will do substantial justice because of the one that
No,
was sent to
I've
me,
got the values of the surrounding properties will not be diminished.
which is the one that I have.
Yeah, substantial justice was missed in
Okay,
the
so we'll do that
application,
one.
so I asked him to be prepared to answer that tonight.
All right.
Okay.
All right.